If today you hear God's voice, harden not your heart. If today you hear God's voice, harden not your heart.
My dear brothers and sisters, today we celebrate the First Sunday of Lent, and I want to give this reflection. I am Friar Joseph Mukuka, Conventual Franciscan. In today's readings, we are reminded of the fact that sin is a reality. Evil is a reality in the world today. And as it was in the time of Noah, it is still a reality with us today. And the theme for today's reflection is about the rebirth of humanity as it was in the time of Noah himself. We do realize that and also reaffirm our faith that as it was during his time when the flood itself wiped out all sin, and there came about a new beginning in the life of the people. Noah and his household were saved. We are reminded of the very fact that we needed to realize that God is in control of every situation. We have to understand also that as sin or evil was obliterated here on earth, it gave rise to the new beginning. A new world order was created among the people. And one thing we need to understand is that God was in control of every situation. In the second reading of today, the same theme of the flood is taken up, but this is in relation to the baptism which is the sacrament that wipes away all our sins and brings ourselves back to our original state where we were before. Because as we might be aware, baptism purifies us from all evil. And we have to understand that through the baptismal waters, humanity has been reborn, and that rebirth gives rise also to a new world order, according to what St. Peter is reminding us of today. In the Gospel, we see a situation where Jesus is faced with so many temptations. After his baptism in the river Jordan, he was led into the desert by the Spirit, and there he stayed for 40 days and 40 nights. And Jesus himself had to counteract evil, because evil had somehow made humanity lose focus of who God was in their life. And Jesus, before beginning his public ministry, did something remarkable. As he went into the desert, he had to seek some quiet time to be with his Father, so that he could gain the strength as he was about to begin his public ministry. Reminding you and I that if you remain connected to Jesus, Jesus himself will make us strong in our faith. And we are going to be strong in the faith, meaning that we are going to be recreated anew. And that is what is required of us. So, what can we learn from what we have talked about in the first reading from the book of Genesis, from First Peter and the Gospel of Mark? We have to reaffirm our faith so that we know to an extent where God himself is the one who is leading us. God is the one who has called you and I to have a sound and deeper relationship with him. And that relationship has to be profound. But we do realize that evil or sin itself distances us from him who created us. And not only does it distances ourselves from God, but also from other people, from ourselves, and from all of creation. Because whatever God created was good. And the human being, when he was created, his original state, the human being was good. But the human being, because of disobedience, of not obeying the will of God, sin came into existence. And since sin came into existence, death also became as a consequence of disobedience. So my dear friends, we are reminded of the fact that we need to embrace God in our life, to let God take a center stage in our life, so that we can realize that our commitment, our faith as Christians, especially during this Lent, we have to hold on to the three pillars of our faith, and that is prayer, almsgiving, and also try to understand that in each and everything we do, we need to open up our hearts to the Lord Himself, so that we can fast from all the things that prevent us from coming closer to God, and from all those things that weigh us down. So, prayer, almsgiving, and fasting, these are three pillars which are so paramount during this Lent. So as we reflect upon these Lenten observances, let us open our hearts to the Lord, so the Lord Himself can fill us with His love. So may the Lord, in His loving kindness, give us that spirit of introspection to understand of how much He loves us and how much He cares for us. To Him who has given us this opportunity, may He continue to sustain our faith during this Lenten season. To God be the glory forever and ever.
If today you hear God's voice, harden not your heart.